So do you want to let's get right into what you have. We got a couple suggestions on some trade rumors or some trade suggestions. So run those up. We'll talk about them briefly before we get into our interview with Kev.
Yeah, let's start with this one. So, James, what are your thoughts on trade with the Spurs? Simmons and Shake Milton for Deontay Murray, Derek White, and 3 first-round picks.
So personally, all right, I really do like Deontay Murray. I'm a big fan of his defense, the way he plays, his aggressiveness, his length and athleticism. He's like not obviously not the same as Ben because Ben's kind of like very unique as a defender because of his size and strength. And Murray's not nearly as like a physical presence as he is like just a guy that can creep up on you. He makes a lot of defensive plays. Um, I like Derek White as well, but again, like this is not none of these are going to be like that superstar swap. But I mean, I guess I like that. I do like Dejounte Murray, and I think for not that I'm going to go too far into it, but like for Ben's interest, San Antonio is a place where he would definitely thrive, I think.
Yeah, I think he would be excellent with the Spurs, but that is none of my consideration in this deal
Yeah,
at this
right.
point. Murray, I like a lot, and he's a guy who's taken like the career arc, and what we hoped Simmons would kind of take is he came in the league, couldn't shoot threes whatsoever, shot under 1 attempt per game in his first 2 seasons in the league, I believe, and has gradually built that to where he is kind of a respectable outside game at this point. Not that he's ever going to be a dead eye, but he shoots it at a regular rate and a couple a game, which is all you can ask for, and it's cool to see his development. He's a guy that, again, none of these trades you're going to come out of here feeling excellent about it, but he's a fine player. Derek White's great, and I love the first-round picks. Any of these is all about stacking assets and being ready to swing for the fences on some sort of deal. So those to me are way more than just like a brush over. Another one, potential trade with the Pacers, Ben and Shake for T.J. Warren, Malcolm Brogdon, and a first-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, I guess again, it kind of works. And thinking of fit, I mean, Warren missed like all of last year, right?
Yeah, he had an elective surgery and did not play. So yeah.
Yeah, so there's a question mark there with him coming back. He is a notorious Sixers killer, which is, but I mean, so is Al Horford. So don't want to get too far into it. I do like Brogdon's fit here. I would be remiss to admit to wanting him here because I have been so against the Malcolm Brogdon train in Philadelphia for a while.
Mm-hmm.
He was a guy that I really, really wanted as a free agent in place of when they did sign Al Horford. I was like, I really wanted that money to go to Malcolm Brogdon because he did make a very similar contract. So I don't know, man. I like Brogdon's fit here. He's just a very quiet and solid player. And again, the first are intriguing as well.
Yeah, so I think the thought process here, and I know there's some people very excited about this, and I think Zach Chavalella is a guy who is pretty high
He
on this
loves
kind of
Malcolm
deal.
Brogdon.
Yeah. So when thinking about the lineup, so it would obviously be Embiid, Tobias, probably Warren and Brogdon, and then probably Curry or as your last one, or depending on what you want to do with that last slot. But that's probably your lineup. Is both these guys are looked at as starters, and the idea behind this is building a roster around Embiid and complementary pieces in the same kind of vein that the Bucks did with Giannis and that. I think the gap between Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton versus the supporting cast we have behind Embiid is massive, and I don't think that we can. To me, this isn't guys that we can follow that model with. So this isn't kind of like I would prefer the first round picks with Murray and White to me than this deal.
Yeah, I would be way more intrigued. Like, and maybe again, this might be a little bit of personal bias, but I am a huge fan of Dejounte Murray and his game. And when I think about what the Sixers would be losing, um, potentially with trading Ben away, is the biggest factor is that defensive aspect to it and what he brings on that side of the ball. And like I said, like obviously Murray doesn't give you as much versatility necessarily, but when you're thinking about who's going to chase around a guard and who's going to put pressure on the ball while Ben is obviously elite and then probably the best in the game at that, DeJounte Murray's up there and he's gonna, get a lot of deflections, a lot of steals, and he is not, he's a dog in that sense where, if he has an assignment, whether it be, I don't know, Trae Young or Kyrie Irving or whoever it is, like he is ready for that challenge. And if you are gonna lose Ben in this situation, I think that defensive aspect, and not that Brogdon's a solid defender as well, but like he's just not the same way. Like he doesn't have the physical attributes as a Ben or DeJounte Murray. So I
Hmm.
would prefer the Spurs move over the Pacers.
Yeah, and we'll do one last one here. Same Ben and Shake. And first off, I'm totally cool with including Shaken in these packages, just based on
Yeah,
uh, nothing against Shake, but Tyrese Maxey's our guy.
yeah.
Uh, but Ben and Shake for Kevin Love, Colin Sexton, and 3 first-round picks.
Uh, I mean, I guess so, right? Like
Yeah,
Texans, I feel like in that tier though of guys where it's like, okay, you didn't get the superstar, but whether it's CJ McCollum or DeJounte Murray or Colin Sexton, like I feel like all those guys are kind of like you can make that out to be a decent reward for whatever it is that you got away with what you got with trading away Ben. So
yeah,
I've always been a Kevin Love fan, but like he doesn't really fit here. You know what I mean?
yeah. I think this is my favorite trade. I think Kevin Love and Tobias Harris are a nightmare next to each other, and probably I wouldn't try to let that happen as little as possible. And I think Kevin Love's probably coming off the bench for us, which I'm okay with. Sexton is a guy who's intriguing to me. There's a part of me that really likes Sexton, but I also kind of think he's a good player on a bad team only kind of guy, and a little bit of an empty stats to that regard. But I think him and Maxey, even though it'd be undersized, would be a nightmare to just in the way those guys would push the pace and be menace. And like I think that would be cool in bursts to see. And once again, 3 first-round picks on a team that probably isn't contending or competing really yet is intriguing. And I think that's my favorite of the bunch. I also like Kevin Love has only 2 years left on the deal, so that becomes an expiring contract, which is easier to package and once again can open cap spaces in the long run. So I think if I have to rank them, that would be my favorite out of the bunch. But like we've said, like I don't sit here feeling awesome about getting Kevin Love and Colin Sexton for Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I feel like my favorite is the deal, like the potential deal with the Spurs. I feel like Murray would definitely be like if there was a consolation prize for all this, if it wasn't De'Aaron Fox, who I'm also a big fan of. I think DeJounte Murray, like I do have a weird like subsection of guards that I'm very fond of in the NBA, and like Murray, Fox, I mean Lonzo Ball, of course, but like there's a weird like group of them that I am really fans of, and Murray falls into that.